Hello everybody. The theme of today's Empowered session is organizational change fitness. Now, most people from the business world are aware of change theory and change processes. No matter which of the change theories you buy into, they generally all argue that individuals and teams typically go through 5 stages of change. And those are, first and foremost, to be aware of the change, in other words, to know about the change, to be able to execute the change, in other words, I can, so it is I know, I can, and then I want to as a third phase, in other words, being willing and able to change. And then to enact that change is the 4th phase, and very importantly at the end of the process, measurement that the change process was in fact successful and then rewarding people accordingly. So if it is so that most people understand these 5 phases of change, and in very many cases when change is implemented in organizations, a structured process that takes the staff through these 5 processes or stages is implemented, why then do so many change processes and initiatives fail? What can the reason for that be? Now, we would argue that it happens way too often that the company itself is not change ready. So we like to talk about change fitness. If the company, the environment, the context within which the change is to occur is not change fit, not conducive or supportive, then there's little chance for success. Just like with individuals, we see 5 key conditions that must exist in an organization if it is going to support a change program. Firstly, change awareness. Is there a culture in your organization of scanning the environment for opportunities and trends? Winning organizations actually assign specific responsibility and agenda time for reviewing and debating the trends in the industry and the world at large. And not only are they talking about how those trends might affect them, but also about how they can change those trends into opportunity. The uptake of social media is a very good example, and products and companies like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of them shot out from that new trend of social media uptake. So, is your organization change ready? Therein that you are aware of changes around you and that you incorporate those into opportunity in your organization. In other words, where is your organization with respect to disruption? Are you being disrupted or are you a disruptor? The second precondition for change in an organization to be successful is what we call change reaction. How well does the organization react to self-imposed or market-dictated change? Think about what is happening in the real estate industry right at the moment. Vacancy rates for office space have shot up as a result of economic decline and then followed by COVID, and never to go back probably to the occupancy rates that was enjoyed before. So the industry is going to have to reinvent its business model to cope with new trends around lease terms. For instance, it's going to be much shorter on the one hand, and also that they possibly will have to repurpose some office space into density residential space. A third condition is change inclination. In other words, how ready and able are the leaders in an organization to muster support for change. I think that one of the most effective ways and powerful ways of getting support for change is that we link change to purpose. Purpose inspires people because it brings meaning. By linking change to purpose, you can attain mass following and involvement of your people in change efforts. Elon Musk transformed a manufacturer of electric sport cars into a manufacturer and distributor of clean energy products. That includes not only electric cars for the consumer market, but also solar energy products. He mustered support for his transformative changes of that organization, Tesla, by articulating an inspiring purpose. Not a purpose that says we are here to build cars, but one that says we are here to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And then fourthly, change execution, the ability to execute on change. So very often organizational leaders, because of their backgrounds, because of their knowledge and experience of the industry, come up with fantastic and the right and inspiring strategies, and yet at the end of the day cannot execute on those strategies. When Apple entered the mobile phone market, Nokia at that point in time was by far the biggest and richest company in the industry. Their leadership realized, however, looking at the competitive products that Apple launched, that the company had to change a whole lot of things if they were going to remain competitive. But history shows us that they were not able to operationalize the necessary changes. And look at where they are now in comparison to where Apple and some other competitors are. Another important point around this issue of change execution is the question, can leadership create new networks of collaboration? So what do I mean by that? Creativity is sparked by doing things in new ways and by collaborating with new partners. And just starting in one's own organization, I think that if one can create opportunities for employees that would not in the normal course of their operations ever interact with each other, if you could create opportunities where they do debate and collaborate with each other, you will bring about, I think, inspiring changes much easier, and there will be a much greater flow of creativity and energy in an organization. And then in the last place, change regard, which goes hand in hand with change perpetuation, is important. Are people in the organization recognized and rewarded for change? In other words, is change a thing that is viewed in a positive light, deliberately in an organization? And are people that successfully bring about change or participate in change efforts adequately rewarded? Is personal growth and improved self-esteem through change something that's important in the business and not just a byproduct? So also, is there a culture of accountability and outcomes measurement? So you are not able to perpetuate a change if you are not going to measure and reward for that change. Would the organization invest in new processes and systems to solidify a change? Very often you see, for instance, with the implementation of a new IT system, that people always want to go back to the old ways of doing things and configuring things. The organization needs to invest money, resources, people, leadership to solidify the change that they want to bring about. Your processes need to be renewed to support the change that you want to bring about. So at the end of the day, no matter how structured and well planned a change process might be in terms of the traditional procedure that has to be followed of I know, I can, I want to, I act, I get rewarded. If the organizational context in terms of change fitness is not adequate, chances are that the change initiative will fail. Thank you very much for listening.